Look, I am going to be honest with you. The other day I was at my favorite salon, the one where you need to wait 3 months to get an appointment, and I overheard a conversation that left me somewhere between laughter and pity. Two women talking about how to land a wealthy husband. One of them said that being pretty and nice was enough. I almost spit my $800 champagne into my crystal glass. Darling, if it were that simple, half of American women would be married to tech billionaires or real estate heirs. The truth nobody tells you is that wealthy men do not just look for beauty. They look for a partner, a strategist, someone who understands that maintaining wealth is harder than acquiring it. And today I, Duchess Dollars, am going to reveal the 10 qualities these men truly seek. Because if you have not found your millionaire yet, the problem might be in your strategy, not your appearance. Before I continue, if you want to learn how to attract a wealthy man, or at least get rich on your own because so far you have only attracted men who made you split the bill at McDonald's, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and leave a like, because I need to know if there are more former fools here wanting to become strategists of their own lives. Fourth quality, you need to accept being poor. Wait, let me explain before you close this video thinking I have lost my mind. When you marry a real entrepreneur, not a trust fund playboy who only spends, you need to understand a reality. Most of his wealth will be invested in the business. My father had millions in assets, but he lived without cash in his pocket. Why? Because every cent that came in, he reinvested in the company. He knew that to grow, he could not be spending money carelessly. So yes, we were rich on paper, but my mother could not simply go out buying everything she saw. And you know what? It was exactly this mindset that saved my family. Because when the crisis came, when the war broke out in 2014, we had something much more valuable than money in the bank. We had assets. And my mother, who had saved money for 40 years while my father invested everything, was the one who gave him the capital to start over. So if you want to marry an entrepreneur, be prepared. You will not have access to millions every month to spend on handbags. You will have assets, you will have security, but you will need to be smart with the money you have available. And if you cannot handle that, darling, maybe you are looking for an heir to an already made fortune, not an entrepreneur building an empire. Ninth quality, you need to be secure. I am going to be direct. Your husband will be surrounded by beautiful women all the time. Models, actresses, businesswomen, influencers, women who will throw themselves at him because they know he has money. And if you become insecure, jealous, controlling, you will end the relationship yourself. The best example of this is Cillian Murphy, that Irish actor with blue eyes who did Peaky Blinders and became a worldwide obsession. Everyone in love with him, women throwing themselves at him. And you know who has been by his side for over 20 years? Yvonne McGuinness, an Irish visual artist. She met him before fame, when he was just a failed musician trying to become an actor. And you know what she never did? She never clung to him at every event to prove he is hers. She has her own life, her own work, her own peace. She is so secure that she does not need to mark territory. Cillian has said that she is the reason everything works in his life, and that tells you everything about what kind of woman she is. She understood one fundamental thing. It is not your job to hold on to a man. It is his job to deserve you. If you are one of those who stalks social media, calls every 5 minutes, makes a scene over anything, you need to work on your security before wanting a wealthy man, because he will not stand for it. He already has too much stress at work. He does not need more stress at home. Second quality, you need to know how to keep quiet. I know it sounds harsh, but it is the rawest truth that exists. You can no longer go around telling your relationship problems to any friend. That phase is over. When you marry a wealthy man, privacy becomes the most valuable luxury than any Hermes bag. I have 2 friends. One constantly tells me all her marriage problems. I have lost count of how many times she has complained about her husband. Result? I do not respect him. How can I respect him if his own wife does not respect him? The other friend, I know nothing about her marriage. It seems perfect, but it probably is not. The difference is that she never gave me an opening to speak badly about her husband. And I would never do that because she herself established that boundary. You need to understand one thing. The way you treat your husband will teach others how to treat him too. If you speak badly of him, you give permission for everyone to do the same. And a wealthy man cannot stand that. He already has too much pressure at work. Enemies wanting to bring him down, competitors inventing gossip. He does not need his own wife destroying his reputation in the friends' WhatsApp group. My mother always said, "What happens inside the house, dies inside the house." And she was absolutely right. To this day, nobody knows when my parents fight. To the world, they are the perfect couple. And this image protects not only their marriage, but also my father's business. Seventh quality, you need to be brave enough to take risks. When you marry an entrepreneur, you also become an entrepreneur, whether you want to or not, because his decisions directly affect you. And many times you will need to support his risky choices even when everyone else is saying it is crazy. Howard Schultz, the owner of Starbucks, was starting the business. He had no money, was desperately trying to raise capital. His wife, Sherry, was 8 months pregnant. Her father said that business was just a hobby and that they needed to be serious. Howard was devastated. At that moment, Sherry could have agreed with her father. It would have been the easiest thing in the world. But she looked at her husband and said, "My father had no right to say that. I know he is trying to protect me, but we are going to make it. We are going to raise that money." If she had given up at that moment, Starbucks would not exist today. There would not be thousands of stores around the world. The empire would not have been built. All because a woman believed in her husband's dream when nobody else did. My mother did something similar. In the 90s, my father had a serious problem. Instead of panicking, my mother, pregnant and with a small child, went to my father's gas station. That station could have been under surveillance, could have been empty, could have gone wrong. But she went, and she managed to get the money that saved my family. If you want a wealthy man, you need to have courage. You need to be able to make difficult decisions in moments of crisis, because he does not need one more person who is afraid. He needs a brave partner. First quality, you need to be the manager of his house. You know that romantic idea that being a rich wife is just going to the salon and shopping? Complete lie. You will manage an entire team. Driver, nanny, security, housekeeper, chef. And do not think it is easy. You need to ensure that nobody on this team is going to sell information about your family to some gossip columnist. Because, darling, blackmail exists, and it is real. I grew up watching my mother do this. She was not just a beautiful woman on my father's arm. She controlled every detail of our house as if she were a CEO. She knew the names of all the employees, knew their families, treated everyone with respect. And you know why? Because when you treat people well, they do not accept $50,000 from some enemy of your husband to tell your house secrets. Once, an acquaintance of mine had a serious problem because she treated the house staff like trash. Result? Her children's nanny was approached by a competitor of her husband offering money to tell intimate details about the family. The nanny accepted. Today, this woman is divorced because the scandal was so big that it destroyed her husband's business reputation. So write this down. A wealthy man does not want drama. He wants someone who knows how to manage his life without creating problems. If you cannot even manage your own bank accounts, how are you going to manage a mansion with 10 employees? Sixth quality, you need to have nerves of steel. Being an entrepreneur's wife is living on a financial roller coaster. 1 month you are making millions, the next you are declaring bankruptcy. And I am not exaggerating. I have seen this happen up close. And you know what separates the women who stay from those who run away? Emotional stability. You cannot panic every time things get difficult. You cannot start crying and pressuring him when the business is bad. Because if you fall apart, the whole family falls apart. The children get scared, he gets even more pressured, and everything becomes chaos. My mother is the calmest person I know. I have never, ever seen her panic. Not when we had to flee the country, not when we had no money, not when my father was being sued. She always kept calm, organized things, and moved forward. And it was this calm of hers that allowed my father to focus on solving problems instead of having to calm the family. A wealthy man does not want a hysterical woman. He wants a partner who keeps her head on straight when everything is on fire. If you are one of those who goes into crisis over anything, work on that before wanting to marry an entrepreneur. Third quality, you need to praise him in public. Everyone likes to be praised, but there is something powerful when the praise comes from your partner in front of other people. My mother always said to anyone who would listen, I found the best man in the world to be the father of my daughters. And my father, he would get all goofy when he heard that. And you know what happened? He worked hard to truly be that man my mother described. There is a giant power in public praise. When you speak well of your partner in front of others, you are not just making him feel good. You are creating a reputation for him to live up to. It is like manifestation, but in reverse. You say he is incredible, people start treating him as incredible, and he will want to prove that he really is. So stop complaining about your boyfriend to your friends and start praising him. Obviously, if he does not deserve even a basic compliment, maybe the problem is your choice of partner, not your communication strategy. And speaking of preparing yourself, let me tell you something. Do you know why some women can circulate in luxury environments and others seem completely out of place? It is not money, it is code. There are women with $30,000 bags who still look lost in fine restaurants. And there are women with $500 outfits who look like they own the place. The look rich without spending much course is at promotional launch price because classes are being released gradually. As soon as the course is complete, the price will rise to full price, without discount. And before you ask me, no, I am not the author of the course. I am an affiliate because I believe in the content. This course teaches exactly the visual, behavioral, and social codes that wealthy women use: how to sit, how to speak, how to dress, how to behave at events. These are details that make all the difference in how you are perceived and treated. The link is in the description. If you want to stop looking like a tourist in your own life, take a look. 8th quality, you need to keep his feet on the ground. You know what happens when a man starts making a lot of money? He thinks it will last forever, and then he wants to start spending. Buy cars for everyone, give money to the whole family, make crazy investments. Look, I am like that myself. When good money hits my account, I am already planning a trip to Europe, thinking about changing cars, wanting to renew my entire wardrobe. In my head, that money will last for years. It lasts 3 weeks. Then I call Mr. Millionaire crying for help. But you know who was never like that? My mother. My father always wanted to give her everything. Once he was literally begging her to buy one more Chanel bag. My friend, who was with us, was shocked. She had never seen a man convincing a woman to buy an expensive bag. It is usually the opposite. But my mother said, I do not need it. I already have so many bags that I do not even use them all. And you know what happened? For 40 years, my mother saved money without my father knowing. When the war broke out and we had nothing, it was her money that allowed my father to start a new business. A wealthy man needs a woman who keeps him grounded, who is not always asking for things, who knows that today there is money, but tomorrow there might not be. If you are one of those who wants to spend everything today and think about tomorrow later, you are not suited to be an entrepreneur's wife. You are suited to be an heir's wife who already has a ready fortune. These are different things. 5th quality, you need to be his safe harbor. Wealthy men have absurd pressure. Everyone wants something from them. Employees want salary. Family wants money. Friends want investment. Government wants taxes. It is pressure from all sides, every day. And you know what is the only place where he can take off the mask and be vulnerable? At home, with you. You need to create an environment where he can talk about his fears without being judged, where he can admit that he is afraid of losing everything, where he can cry if he needs to, because outside the house he cannot show weakness. In the business world, weakness is an invitation to be destroyed. My mother never judged my father for his business choices. Even when she disagreed, she waited until they were alone to talk. She never made him feel stupid or incapable. And that made all the difference. My father always knew that, no matter what happened out there, at home he had unconditional support. If you want a wealthy man, you cannot be one more source of pressure in his life. You need to be the relief, the refuge, the safe place. And if you are one of those who is always complaining, demanding, pressuring, you can be sure he will look for peace elsewhere, and it will not be with you. 10th quality, you need to be loyal above all. And I am not talking about infidelity. That is too obvious to discuss. I am talking about public loyalty. You never, never, ever can disrespect your partner in front of other people. If he says the sky is red, you confirm it is red. Later, when you are alone, you can explain that the sky is actually blue, but in front of others you always agree, because the moment you disrespect him publicly, you are asking other people to take sides. And if not even you respect him, why will other people respect him? Once I went to dinner with my father in Dubai. We met my friend, her mother, and her mother's new boyfriend. My mother could not go on that trip. During dinner, everyone drank except me and my father. At some point, the boyfriend got irritated and said something rude to my friend's mother. My father was silent, but you could see he was uncomfortable. Then the boyfriend said, "Your father," he said my father's name, "would never speak like that to his wife." And my friend's mother replied, "That is because his wife would never give him a reason to speak like that." That phrase stayed in my head forever. We always want a partner with certain qualities. We think we deserve those qualities. But the truth is that when you want your partner to be a certain way, you also need to be a certain way. You want a man who treats you with respect? Treat him with respect first. You want a man who does not yell at you? Do not yell at him. You want a man who is loyal? Be loyal first. Most women want to harvest without planting, want to be treated like a queen without treating their partner like a king, and then they are confused when the relationship does not work. Look, I know you might be thinking, "But Duchess, I do not want to do all this. It is too much work." And I agree with you. It is work indeed. A lot of work. That is why being a rich wife is not for just anyone. It is not just sitting pretty and spending money. It is managing, supporting, taking risks, staying calm, being strategic. That is why I always say, if you were not lucky enough to be born rich or marry a millionaire, the way is to create your own wealth. Because at least when you are rich alone, you only need to take care of yourself. Every Saturday morning I wake up, grab my gourmet coffee, open my spreadsheet, and put down everything I spent during the week. Yes, I am wealthy, but I control every cent. Because wealth is method, not luck. And whoever does not control money is controlled by it. If you made it this far, subscribe to the channel and leave a like if you want to learn to be rich, with or without a millionaire man by your side. Because financial independence is a basic right, not a privilege. Now let me do a quick review of what you learned today. A wealthy man looks for a house manager, not a spoiled princess. He looks for a woman who knows how to keep quiet and protect the family's privacy. He looks for someone who praises him in public and creates a positive reputation for him. He looks for a partner who accepts being cash poor because the money is invested. He looks for a safe harbor where he can be vulnerable without being judged. He looks for a woman with nerves of steel who does not panic in a crisis. He looks for courage to support risky decisions. He looks for someone who keeps his feet on the ground and does not let him spend everything. He looks for a secure woman who does not need external validation. And above all, he looks for unwavering loyalty. Now answer me something. Do you prefer to be admired by strangers or loved by those who know your flaws? Comment down below. Strategist of my own life. Comment this if you liked the video. Oh, and before you go, if you want to stop taking selfies with an old phone and start having professional and sophisticated photos, I have a gift for you. My digital book, Elegant Portraits with AI, brings 100 prompts to transform your photos into portraits worthy of magazine covers. These are commands I use myself to create incredible photos using artificial intelligence. You will save fortunes on photographers and still have professional results. Take advantage of the promotional launch price because it will go up soon. Link in the description. Now go, be a strategist, and as always, do what you want with this information. Kisses from someone who has already chosen to be rich.